Hey guys, how's it going? Well, just when you thought it was safe to stop thinking about heater cores, we got another one to do. This is on this 73 Dart Sport, aka the Eternal Project car. And last time I had this car running, I noticed some steam coming up. Yeah, there's my accompaniment over there. Some steam coming out of the defrost vents up here, and that's a number one little party going over there. It's always a party at Lyle's house. It's just like my parents' house, man. I was growing up, they were quiet and worked and everything straight up, you know, during the week. But man, when the weekend got there, it was party time. Anyway, so steam through the vents is an automatic indicator that you got a coolant leak somewhere, either at the heater core itself or possibly one of the lines, but normally it's always the heater core. And this heater core in this car lives back behind here, and sort of straight in there. And so I want to give you a rundown first of all of which of these A-bodies, and I'm only talking about A-bodies, 67 through 76 A-bodies. Which of these you have to remove the box. You know what the box is. This big fiberglass assembly under here. Which of these you have to take the box out of, and which you do not. If you have a non-AC car of any year from 67 through 76, means there's no factory air conditioning, means you don't have this. You just have like my Plymouth out there, my green one, there's no air conditioning. And that even includes if you have aftermarket air conditioning, which means you have a unit hanging off the bottom. Same deal. That's considered a non-AC heater box. If you have a non-AC heater box, non-AC car, then you absolutely have to take the box out. There's no way around it to get to the heater core. It has to come out. If you have a 72 on down with air conditioning, factory air conditioning, it's not like this. It's got a control with about 4 buttons across it, 5 buttons, whatever. If you have that, the box has to come out. If you have a 73 through a 76 factory air conditioned A-body like this one, then you do not, listen to me carefully, you do not have to take the box out, because this box can be disassembled partially in the car, which is what we're going to do. And the heater core comes out. I've already done one of these before, so I know the basic procedure, plus I got my good old Mopar service manual, factory service manual for that. And I can't tell you enough, if you guys work on these cars, you need to get one of those, because it just tells you every little step and every little detail, and tells you all kinds of information that a Haynes manual or a Chilton manual does not tell you. A Haynes manual or Chilton manual is a joke. That's all it is. It's a waste of money. So, but anyway, so we're going to launch into this. Today is, it's like I said in my video, if you don't like the weather, then just wait a few days and it'll change. Yesterday it was warm and rainy. Today it turned off cool in the 40s, and it's been partly cloudy. Tomorrow it's going to be cool. It's going to be a freeze warning tonight, and then it's going to go back up to in the 60s again starting into the week. So, you know, I don't know, heck, we may have tornadoes, may have a hurricane, may have a dust storm, who knows. We'll have it here. If it's capable of occurring, it'll happen here in North Alabama at one point. So anyway, we're going to get into this, and so we're going to, just to give you just a general overview, we're going to be disconnecting under the hood. We're going to be disconnecting our heater hoses. Has to disconnect under there. And then this console and the gear shift knob will have to be, console will have to come out, gear shift knob will have to come off. So we got to get access, and then the instructions are saying that the ashtray and the radio have to come out. I hope not. And I don't think the glove box has to come out. If I'd known all that before I put all that in, if I knew this heater core was broken, which I didn't, it did it after I'd been running the car, I guess, I wouldn't have put those in there. But oh well, that's no use crying over spilled antifreeze. So alright, let's get into that. This console was probably the original, and it's not in the best condition. But these things, you wouldn't believe the price these things go for. This is called this thing is in different sections. This has got the main console you see. You got a door. You got a latch assembly, and this one's broken. That's why it won't stay up or stay down. I mean, and that's what he said. And then this part right here that you see, this called a top plate. And the ones for an automatic are fairly common, like this one. But the ones for a 4-speed, you ought to check the price out on one of those. Even ones in rough condition, you'd be traumatized for sure. That's why I'm glad I, right at this point, don't have a 4-speed. So, I don't know. I'm probably just gonna, this car, the interior's all here. It's all complete. It's not in bad, really bad condition or anything. So, that's down the road working on the interior. But, I'll probably just clean this console up and put it back in as is. If I can get that little, probably, if I can source a latch and source a slider cover, that'll be great. I'll put those in ahead of time, so put those on in. So, okay, let's get on with it. And you will probably hear music and people talking next door, like always. Oh, they went in. Nope, they're outside. You got the old fire going over there. And you want me to quote Lyle again one more time? You said you'd be ready. Alright. See you guys. On to the next installment. The world's largest rat's been in here. No, actually what happened was I forgot to put this thing to bed. Whenever we had the real cold weather. I know it had antifreeze in, but I just took an extra precaution and stuffed one of my car covers in over the top of the engine to kind of preclude a lot of cold air. So first thing we need to do is get that out of there. So you said you'd be ready. There we go. Put this. I don't want to go all the way in there with it. It did make all the difference. It sure as hell did. And you know what difference it made? It got warmer. So okay, here's our heater lines going back to the back. That's a heater control valve. Who knows if that works anymore? That's one of those old obsolete ones that I don't think can be overhauled. I didn't lie, did I? And there's your heater connections. And keep note of what sizes, which one is which. It's hard to mix them up if the lines are already here because they're two different sizes. I think one's a 5/8 and one is a 1/2. And I'm thinking the small one's the outlet. Or maybe it's the other way, I don't know. But anyway, just put it back like it was. So I guess I'm gonna try to do that without pulling the air cleaner off. So let's get on with that. You said you'd be ready. Okay, got these heater hoses off and I just cut them because the heater hoses and this stuff here, something I'm going to correct. That stuff, I'm kind of been doing that. I've been going back and redoing some work that I was not happy with. So I got some parts to make that better. So anyway, that's what we're going to do. We're going to make it better. So anyway, you get that taken off, and then the next thing you'll have to do is you'll have to remove that plate. It's got a seal behind it, so you've got a, looks like a, I guess that's a 1/2 inch nut right there. That's actually, that stud is coming out of the heater core bracket inside, so take that thing off right there in the center. Don't lose it. Alright, that little plate is off here, and issue a correction, that's a 7/16. It's not a 1/2. So here's the seal that sits behind this thing, and this thing is coming out in chunks. You can see it's got some of it on there. So yeah, I'm gonna have to get in there and order another seal for it. Shouldn't cost much money, but I'm gonna dig the remains of that one out because that's a place for water and air and critters to get in if you don't put that back in there. And nobody in their right mind is going to say, what was that? Nobody in their right mind is going to say, I'll just put some sealer on that and then be okay. Well, no, not doing that. Not when a new seal's like under $10. So dig that out and then we'll move to the interior of the car. Okay, the manual makes no mention of taking this console out, so I don't know if I believe that or not. We'll try it without it. But anyway, the next step you're going to do is you're going to take out this. This is called the AC duct, and it simply just mounts under the dashboard like that. This one, I never had put the one in this one yet, so it was already just kind of somewhere else. But you're going to have, see, you've got two studs hanging down from the dash right there. One there and one over there. And each have a nut on them. And they go in these corresponding holes. That one's got an issue there. See, that might have been light wasn't in there yet. Anyway, the way you're going to get to that is you're just going to take a, I think that's a 7/16. And you're just going to run a deep well 7/16 up here on the bottom, from the bottom, and run those off, and this thing comes right out. It's got a seal on the back of it. Your seal may or may not be reusable. If it's not, those are easy to come by off the internet. So the next thing it says is going to have happen is we're going to have to take the ashtray out, which is this, and you're just going to take the end. You can take the door off, I think. Let me see if I remember how to do this here. Yeah, it comes down. You just push on that thing there and work it down to where you want. And then you have screw here, screw here, screw here, screw here, and you may or may not have the connection on the back of the cigarette lighter. I think this one does. So if you're wondering, this is probably a good opportunity for me to do something in GIMP that I need to do anyway. If you're wondering what those wires are, that's wiring to the radio that I just kind of half-assed as usual when I was putting this in and getting in a hurry. So anyway, we'll fix that while we're in here. We'll go and take this radio out too. So let's get the ashtray out first. I think this ashtray it's not the easiest thing to get out. I think it's going to come out the back. So let's do that now. Alright, take those 4 screws out, your ashtray comes out. This is it, the bracket, I guess you would call it, is actually what it is. And it should have a wire in the back of it, power wire. And this one's, this, it's not the power wire, this is a ground wire. Hell, I don't know what that is. Anyway, this came out of that green Valiant that I wish I now hadn't scrapped. But anyway, you can see it goes on. That looks like it goes under a screw or something, but I'm going to have to research that, make sure I know where that goes. Last thing I need to do is start a fire in here because I hooked a wire up wrong. So that thing's kind of a tight fit. You got some wires in there and you kind of have to scooch it over those and then kind of work it down in front of that panel back there, and it comes out. Now what I'm doing is I'm working on this radio. I took the knobs off, they're in there, and got 2 5/8 nuts here that hold the radio to the dashboard. And I'm trying to think if I'm sure I got this in that way. Here comes something. Yeah, okay. I don't remember. I know this is going to be a two-hander job here, that's for sure. I think it actually had to kind of come out around, you have to kind of slide it down and come out with it. It wasn't easy. If I'd only damn well known. You said you'd be ready. You know something, I hear people yakking and shouting like that. You know, here's the thing I have to question. You know, are people just nowadays, are they just lost any shred of modesty that they had, that they don't care if people hear them shouting at their wife or something, or arguing? You know, what happened to people? Do people just not care anymore? I'll tell you something, I think that the basis for a lot of things that go on these days, you know, as far as like that kind of thing, and people you know, causing a stir by trying to flaunt the rules and things somewhere, like in a restaurant. All those little things you see happening that you think the person, you know, you come away thinking, what an idiot this person is. You know what I think it is? I think people lately in this society have gotten so driven to get attention to themselves. They are so freaking determined to, instead of being the boring person that they are, and always have been and always will be, they're just, people these days are just determined to get themselves 5 minutes of attention somehow doing something. You know, let's just see if we can get in trouble for this. Let's just see if I can get my way. Let's just see if I can drive 15 miles over the speed limit. Let's just see what happens. My life is so boring that I need some attention. I want somebody to pay attention to me. Pay attention to me. See, I put my whole life on the internet. Now pay attention to me. It's not interesting, and I'm not interesting. But my whole life is out here, and I want somebody to pay attention to me. I think that's behind all this bullshit. Because people used to didn't care, you know. You just lived your life, and you just did what you did. You stuck to yourself. You were modest. You were quiet, you know. It didn't mean you didn't have an opinion, but you didn't go out trying to, you know, you didn't come away from doing something that made you look stupid or made people think you're an idiot, you know. You just didn't. I don't know. People... I just don't like people very much, I guess, sometimes. Okay, let's wrestle this radio out. Okay, this radio's out, and this is the biggest pain in the ass, just like I thought it was. Seemed like it went in easier than it came out, but what it is, this is a kind of a made-in wire retainer that's on the dashboard. It's kind of spring type steel. It bends around, but anyway, you got to get this thing all the way up, and then that radio will finally grudgingly slide out from back there. But it's up against the, it gets up against everything. It gets up against this, whoops, this heat and air control, which looks like now I'm looking at, if I didn't tighten this thing up. What am I doing here with the zoom? This thing's kind of rattling around, so I kind of, it's obvious I kind of rush some of this stuff like usual, so I have to go back in and do that the right way. I'll tell you this much, I'm not putting this radio back in to make sure the heater works. So be sure you take the antenna connector off as usual, and you got a power wire, light wire, and your speaker connections. See, I didn't even hook the speaker wires up when I put this thing all back in a while ago before. Oh, I see what's going on here. I've got to figure out, this thing has a, that's something I noticed I didn't do. This has a rear speaker connection. Damn it, get it in the, has rear speaker control. It's just like a fader, so it's got some wiring. I'm gonna have to do that the right way when I put this radio back in. So you said you'd be ready. Okay, radio's out. Glad for it, man. Alright, the next step is that has to come off. That little thing there, that's the heat defrost actuator. So it has to come off, and what you're going to do is you're going to remove the vacuum line to it there, and then you're going to take off the 2 bolts right there that hold it to the box right there. Those 2 you see right in the center frame, not that one, not that one, not any others, those 2 right there. I think those are 3/8. And then what's going to happen is you're just going to leave this thing hang by that rod right there. It's just going to be hanging loose. Don't worry about it. That's what they say do. So, because it's going to come off with this plate right here that we're going to be taking off in a little bit. So, let's get at it. Just like that. Okay guys, we got to take the distribution duct. I think this is called the rear one, or lower, or something like that. Anyway, it's this piece right here has to come off. So you've got, it says there's 3 bolts that hold this in on the front. That's going to be, I believe, this one, this one, this one. You got 2 on the end, and then I'm going to have to take you around to the other side here and look at the other end of it, so bear with me. Okay, I think we're on the other side now, and the part that we're gonna be dealing with is, you just saw the right side of it, that's the left side, the driver's side, and I think the bolts that we're talking about on the two on the end are those, are gonna be those right there. Where am I? Right there. So this thing's loose, so you can get in there to it, no problem. So, all right, I'll do that, and then in the next segment, I'll issue a correction if I told you wrong. So I always say watch ahead in these videos. Watch all the way through, because I have to correct myself, and I don't feel like redoing it. So, Lyle and them are sitting around by the fire over there. I wonder if they're getting smoked. He needs Uncle Phil's nebulizer mask, doesn't he? Okay, see you in a bit, guys. Okay, kind of losing our light, but I'm going to press onward. I hope you can see. Do my best to illustrate what I'm talking about. Alright, so we have to remove what's called the right hand distribution duct, and this is the part down there that's got that little door, fits on the back of this, and you just take the remaining bolts out that you can see on the front, and there's two hidden bolts that you have to find. You have to reach your hand through the ashtray opening, and there's one kind of in the center that faces up, and it's just roughly center, and then another one, there's two more actually, I'm sorry. There's one that is directly when you reach up, and you'll feel the defroster duct for the right hand side. Take the hose off of it, but to the firewall side of that duct, reach your hand back down, and you'll feel the top of a bolt sticking up. You have to take that one out, and I believe there is another one that's just beside that duct that's kind of facing that way, and you need to take that one out. And this thing will not come all the way out at this point. So we've got to take that loose, and then we've got to do another step. We've got to, I believe the book says, to take the left-hand defroster duct off also. So we'll get on with that. Once again, sorry for the lighting.